Your nightly news with Rachel Williams begins now.
Good evening, everyone. Well, police are hunting for a knife-wielding man who threatened staff in an armed robbery at Kings Meadows last night. It's believed the man tried to leave the Coles supermarket with a shopping trolley carrying unpaid goods. When approached by staff, the man produced a knife before fleeing the store and dumping the trolley. The offender is described as being in his late teens to early 20s, 180 to 184 centimetres tall, and wearing a dark hooded jumper with light-coloured pants and black shoes. Anyone with information is urged to contact Crime Stoppers. The ink is finally drying on the deal, wiping Tasmania's historical housing debt to the Commonwealth. The state government is promising to use the money to build more homes and take more people off the waiting list, but it does concede there's a long way to go.
Shaking off Tasmania's housing woes.
Congratulations. Well done.
Michael Sukkar had a few choice words for his debt deal.
Worst kept secret.
$157 million in historical loans owed by the state to the Commonwealth is now scrapped, saving the state up to $230 million in total interest and principal repayments by 2041. But there are strings attached.
The conditions are that every cent needs to be spent on housing and homelessness.
There'll be at least, we reckon, around 80 more dwellings like these each year possible thanks to this debt relief.
Tasmania's slice of GST revenue and federal grants won't be touched to pay for the waiver. There was one notable absence at the signing.
Hey guys, how you going? That's the way.
Senator Jackie Lambie secured the deal after agreeing to support the government's controversial tax cuts.
So to have that debt relieved finally is great for Tasmania, but more so it is even better for the families out there that are doing it tough, that are living in their cars or they're out there couch surfing.
The news has been welcomed by the welfare sector and Labor, but for roughly 3,000 Tasmanians still on the waiting list for a roof over their heads, the danger of homelessness is far from over. Sean McComish, 7 Tasmania News.
Hundreds of would-be brides and grooms have flocked to Rest Point today, gathering ideas to help plan their wedding. Stall holders offering advice on a range of necessities, including the all-important dress.
Ready, set, pose, this bride-to-be and her posse preparing for the big day.
3, 2, 1.
Rosie Jones is tying the knot early next year, soaking up all the advice she can get at today's wedding expo.
I'm actually pretty nervous. It's getting closer now, so I have to really start thinking about the detail.
The event attracting almost 2,000 visitors, proving the industry here is flourishing.
It's good. A lot of people sort of say, oh, weddings are going out of fashion. Well, no, there's lots of them, and some very happy couples we put together, which has been wonderful.
We're seeing some slightly higher numbers as a result of same-sex weddings, which is great, and any boost to the wedding industry in the state is definitely always welcome.
Advice on cakes, photography, makeup and the all-important outfit, with brides, bridesmaids and the fellas strutting their stuff, flaunting the latest wear.
I'm hoping to find some more information about dresses and maybe some funky things to pop in our venue.
The expo also catering for those planning someone's last hurrah, a bucks or hens party.
Everything from paintball, clay target shooting, axe throwing, slingshots, you name it, we can do it.
Louise Hedger, 7 Tasmania News.
The skies cleared just in time for more than 500 runners lacing up for this year's Launceston Marathon. The third year of the event has seen a bump in numbers, helped in part by the collapse of the Launceston 10.
We're a little bit different. We run a road style race, but it's all off-road. There's no worry about traffic or traffic management or any of that. Everyone's inclusive. And being a lapped course as well, it's spectator friendly.
The half marathon was by far the biggest race of the day, with 200 challengers leaving the start mark. Dozens of cyclists have dressed up in their finest Sunday clothes and hopped on their bikes for Launceston's annual Tweed Run. The popular event is part of the Junction Arts Festival, which wraps up tonight.
Look, it's been incredible. We've had massive ticket sales for all the ticketed events, which is amazing. So many shows have sold out. Even though one night we had a lot of rain, last night made up for it.
This year's festival saw more than 40 events run over 5 days. Dozens of families affected in some way by congenital heart disease have gathered in Hobart to support the charity Heart Kids. 4 people across Australia die every week from some form of the disease, which is sadly still without a cure.
Taking to the pavement, showing support for Heart Kids.
We're eternally grateful for everything that they've done for us.
George Clark has just turned 18, but it hasn't been an easy ride. He's now doing what he can for an organisation which has offered he and his family strength during the most trying times.
I've had 6 open heart surgeries and 5 closed, and they were all done over at the Royal Children's Hospital in Melbourne. And so Heart Kids has been a massive part of my life and my family's life.
All these people are in some way affected by congenital or acquired heart disease. Some have tragically lost a loved one, others have lived experience.
Because we're a little bit isolated down here being an island, we really need each other, and it's fantastic. So we get each other through.
Every day in Australia, on average, 8 children are born with a heart condition, but still there's no cure. These team members putting one step forward in the hope there'll be one found soon.
We really just live each day and enjoy each moment that we have.
Louise Hedger, 7 Tasmanian News.
Welcome back. North Launceston are through to their 6th TSL Grand Final in a row after a big win over Lauderdale today. The Northern Bombers continuing their finals hoodoo over the visitors at Windsor Park, putting on 13 majors for the match en route to a 37-point win, with Lauderdale getting one more crack at a spot in the decider against Launceston next weekend.
Always a tough trip north for Lauderdale. Jordan Tepper helped ensure today would be no exception. Nick Raglione striking back on the scoreboard for the Southern Bombers, but the reigning premiers were just getting warmed up, with Bart McCulloch booting his first of the day before coach Taylor Whitford marked his 150th game for the club by putting them 3 goals up just before quarter time. Dakota Bannister's solid season continuing, drawing first blood for the Northern Bombers when things resumed. In desperate need of a response, Alex Saunders provided for the visitors to narrow the gap before a nasty collision between Braden Van Buren and Bryce Walsh forced both players off the ground. Brad Cox-Goodyear curling one more through before the long break to see his side up by 23 points. A classy finish from Devils' young gun, Ryan Mansell, extending the buffer early in the third. Mansell, check side goal! Before Lauderdale finally found some spark, slotting 2 majors to keep themselves in with a look. Some cause for concern for North Launceston when star ruckman Alex Lee was helped from the field after landing awkwardly. But it did little to deter the side as its skipper booted one of his trademark long bombs to make it a 6-goal difference heading into the home stretch. And from there, the final siren couldn't come quickly enough for Lauderdale as the flag favourites booked their spot in the grand final with a 37-point win, with Cox-Goodyear finishing up with 4 goals.
Tasmanian soccer fans got a taste of A-League action today at South Hobart Oval, but it wasn't the result they were after, with the Central Coast Mariners a class above the Tasmanian representative side. Jordan Murray striking early for the A-League club following a string of chances. The side breaking through again in the 66th minute, courtesy of Ziggy Gordon, and the Mariners only had to wait another few minutes to extend the lead to 3. South Hobart star Ben Hamlet salvaging some last-minute pride for the Tasmanians, but it was too little, too late. 3-1 the final score. The state's best young motocross riders have capped off a highly competitive season on the track at the final round of the Tasmanian Championship Series in Penguin. Morgan Wright taking out the women's category, with young gun Jade Jennings finishing on top in both of his divisions. Northwest Coast rider Lockie Smith was crowned overall lights champion, with Jordan Lovick and Evan Lockwood claiming the honours in the Pro Open and 125cc classes.
Good evening. 15 degrees today in Hobart. That was actually the state's top, with 14 for Launceston and Burnie and 13 degrees in Devonport. 15 degrees also for Campania, Grove and Bushy Park. 14 at Wynyard, Fingal, Medina, Ouse and Strawn. 13 degrees for Low Head, Smithton, St Helens and the Bass Strait Islands, with a top of 10 degrees for Lyweenie. On the charts, a cloud band clears the east of the state, with another moving in from the west later. Further out, a band of cloud spirals around a low over the Tasman. That frontal band from the west moves over South Australia and Victoria also. Tomorrow shows a strong high pressure system over the Bight, extending ridges over Tasmania and northern Australia. Southwesterly winds 25 to 35 knots, decreasing to 20 to 30 knots later on, with seas mostly between 2 and 3 metres. There's a gale warning current for eastern and northwestern coastal waters, a strong wind warning for most remaining coastal waters, with a strong wind warning for Frederick, Henry and Norfolk Bays, as well as Storm Bay and the Channel. There's also a minor flood warning for the South Esk. Onto the forecast. Morning showers through the south tomorrow, 13 in Hobart, 12 for Dover and Ouse. Cloudy through the north, 14 for Launceston, 13 in Devonport, 12 for Scottsdale. 12 degrees in Burnie, Strahan and Stanley, with early showers expected for the east, 13 in St Helens and Swansea, 11 degrees for Ross. Showers expected about the west and the south on Tuesday. Showers continuing for the west on Wednesday, cloudy elsewhere, with showers mainly about the west and the south on Thursday. Looking around Australia at your major centres for tomorrow, 30 and sunny in Perth, 16 degrees for Adelaide, 17 with showers for Sydney, sunny and 25 in Brisbane, with 29 the top for Cairns. And it's cloudy and 10 degrees at the moment, Rach, in Hobart and Launceston, and mostly cloudy in Devonport, 9 degrees. That's all from me for the weekend.
Wonderful. Thanks for that, Sam. Well, that's all your news for now. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a great week. Good night.